Wisp Sports Radio, the voice of women in sport.
Welcome to Season 1, Episode 28 of the WeCOACH Podcast on Wisp Sports. Every 2 weeks, we go one-on-one with some of the best women coaches, administrators, and industry leaders in the world of sports for insightful and inspiring conversation. I'm your host, Megan Kahn, Executive Director of WeCOACH. This podcast is a co-production of WeCOACH and Wisp Sports. WeCOACH is a premier nonprofit organization committed to recruiting, retaining, and advancing women coaches of all sports and levels. Through our programming, events, and global community, we are empowering female coaches, and better yet, inspiring the next generation of young women who dream of following in their footsteps. Today's guest has a resume that reads like a who's who of coaches. Northwestern head women's lacrosse coach Kelly Amonte Hiller is coming off one of her most impressive seasons to date, having garnered Big Ten Coach of the Year and IWLCA West Midwest Regional Coach of the Year. Let's chat with the 7-time national champion coach and 2012 U.S. Lacrosse Hall of Fame inductee. Kelly, welcome to the WeCOACH Podcast.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited. I know obviously you're royalty in the lacrosse community, but for our community of female coaches across all sports and levels, I bet they have a lot to learn about your coaching career and your playing career for that matter. So I can't wait to dive in.
Great.
We're going to take it back to the beginning. I talked about your playing career. You garnered back-to-back National Player of the Year awards at the University of Maryland, and then you continue to star as a standout on the U.S. national team for nearly a decade. Let's start from the top. When did you know you wanted to be a coach?
Well, I think, from graduating from school, obviously I had a very successful collegiate career, and I wanted to stay involved in the game at some, level. And I was really inspired by my collegiate coach and, not having the opportunity to really play at a professional level and pass the game on and through that type of venue. I chose to just see what it was like in the coaching ranks because, I really wanted to be able to give back to, some of the lessons that I had learned from my coach. He really, pushed me and embraced me in so many different ways. And, I really gained a great level of passion for what I was doing. So wanted to stay in it, and coaching was, a natural choice. My collegiate coach hooked me up with one of her friends who was coaching at Brown University at the time, Carolyn Norris. And Cindy had just said how great of a mentor she was. And so I was able to be an assistant with Carolyn, and it was just a great experience. Carolyn really let me make an impact on the Brown University program at the time. And it was really my first, my first experience in coaching, and it was a good one. And that really set me on a path to want to coach more.
You've already name dropped. We're like 2 or 3 minutes in. You've already name dropped two successful women in the game and female coaches at that, which at the time wasn't necessarily that common. Did you think about that growing up, about having those strong female role models? And was that one of the reasons that inspired you to want to give back?
Absolutely. I mean, if I think about my coaching career and my playing career, my freshman year in high school, I actually had the opportunity to play for a woman named Lisa Miller, who, ended up having a great coaching career and is still a coach at UMass Lowell. And she really introduced me to the sport. I had never really experienced it before. It was all new to me. And so that was a really cool thing. And she exposed me to people and, different experiences that I wouldn't even know about. And then later in my high school career, I had another strong female role model, Karen Jeremini, and she was a U.S. national team player, very successful college career at UNH, and she was helpful in kind of broadening my horizons as well, and teaching me some different lessons. So I feel really fortunate that I had a lot of really, really strong female role models. And, that's something that I try to impress upon my student athletes now, is just how important it is to, carry and represent yourself in a way that, others can look up to you and learn from you. And, no matter what level you're at, there's always someone looking up, and someone younger, someone from a different club or team. And so it's always just important to kind of have an awareness of that.
Absolutely. We always say if she can see her, she can be her. And as we know, it's important to show young girls and boys, for that matter, that females can be strong athletes, but also strong, successful coaches.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you were at Brown, then you went on to be an assistant at UMass and then BU. What in the world made you look at the Northwestern program, who hadn't even played at the varsity level?
Honestly, I wasn't looking for it. I had just gotten married, and I was going to grad school, business school at BU, and I didn't know really what I was going to do next, my next move. I was volunteering for the BU team, and Northwestern at the time, a bunch of their athletic directors had their start at BU. Rick Taylor, who hired me, Nancy Lyons, who was the senior woman administrator and probably one of my greatest mentors at Northwestern. They ended up calling BU, and they had known me because my brother played ice hockey at BU, and when he was at BU, they were there, and so they knew the name, obviously. And I was in high school at that time, so they knew that I was a very, successful student athlete, and they kind of followed my playing career through their, relationship with my brother. And so they actually called me. I think they had, the new position, and, they were the type of program that wasn't gonna go after, a head coach that had a ton of experience and pay the big bucks. They wanted to add the sport, but they didn't have a huge budget to pay salaries and stuff like that. So they figured they would kind of go across the landscape, see what was out there, and I guess that led them to my name. And they called me and asked if I would interview, and I wasn't too keen on it, to be honest, because I had spent my college career away from Boston, and I wanted to be here with my family and whatnot. And my husband at the time had coached at Harvard University for a number of years, and he never really got an opportunity to be a head coach, and just impressed upon me that these opportunities don't come along that often. So I should just at least go out and see it, see the opportunity. My brother, who had played at BU, was then at the time the captain of the Chicago Blackhawks. So, I called him, obviously, and asked him if he knew anything about Northwestern. I literally knew nothing about Northwestern University. And he had been up to Evanston and told me how beautiful the campus was and, that type of thing. But he didn't have a huge knowledge of it as well. So I figured I'm hearing good things. I'll try and go out for the interview. And, when I went out for the interview, I think the biggest and most impressive thing at Northwestern was the people. The people were just truly amazing. And I was really, really impressed by it. Obviously, the academic reputation of the university is tremendous. And that combined with the people, I just felt that Northwestern was the type of place that could be successful in the sport of lacrosse. The landscape of the sport is very geared towards female athletes that, want to get a great education and want to be, in that type of an environment. So I got offered the opportunity after the job interview, and that was probably one of the tougher decisions that I've made. And I think about two tough decisions: the decision to go to Maryland for college and be 8 hours away from my home. That was a tough one. I wanted to stay close to home, but I felt the best opportunity and the opportunity that was gonna grow me the most was away. So I took that risk, and that first risk really helped me take this second risk. I got a lot of encouragement from my husband. He said, if you don't like it, we can always, go. And for him to be supportive of me and want to, move as well. I think he saw the opportunity and how great the potential was as well. So I took the leap and just really never looked back. That's one of the things about me as a coach and just a person, is that when I do something, I try to do it to the best of my ability. And I just, went in and believed. I think that's the root of my philosophy, is you have to believe in yourself. You have to, really be strong and diligent and hardworking, but the belief is the most important thing. And I really, on the job interview, I created that belief that this program could be successful. And then it was just about, turning that over and, grinding every day and making everyone else believe. So that was kind of how it all started.
Oh my gosh, so many good nuggets in what you just said. I was over here furiously writing little notes to myself to recall everything you were saying. I want to go back to, because what you started out with is you weren't seeking the job, that they came to you. And it goes back to the power of, so often in this business, we think it's about who we know. It's really about who knows us, and how, if that's our end goal to advance in the profession or climb a career ladder or seek other assistant head coach positions or administrator positions. It's about who knows us and how we build authentic relationships within the industry. So I took that away definitely right off the top.
Yeah, I mean, I could not agree with that more, because even like last year I had an assistant, and he was struggling in getting an opportunity, and he's one of my best assistants I've ever had. And my husband and I sat him down and we said, listen, you can't chase after it. You have to just focus on doing well, being a good coach. And when you have some success, then the people will come to us and they'll ask us about you. And that's exactly what happened. And, we had some success last year, and now he's the head coach at Arizona State University. So I think that, whether a female, male, whoever it is, I think the more you can just focus in on what it takes rather than, chasing success, focus on being successful. That's really the key.
Kelly, I know after last season semifinal appearance, you didn't come out where you would have liked, but did you take time to celebrate the great season as it was? And when you reflect back, are you proud of what you accomplished?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely really proud of my team. I think we had a very unique season. One of our players lost her brother to a brain tumor, and so we went through a lot as a group. And I really wanted our team to kind of win it all, but winning the Big Ten championship and achieving everything that we did achieve, I was extremely proud of the group, and looking forward to building on it this year for sure.
So how do you refocus them this fall?
I think we have a big freshman class. We have 12 new kids coming in. And so for us, we really have to build on the culture that we established last year and teach a whole new group of people, what it really takes to be successful. That is absolutely a process and doesn't come right away. I think sometimes when you have success, you think that it's just gonna build on success. And, sometimes it does, but other times you have to, especially when you have a long layoff, you have to really reboot and make sure that, you're teaching the same lessons and you're, building on what you established from the prior year.
Can you give us some examples of that process and how you reboot and build upon that?
Yeah, I mean, I think last year, was a different team. This year we have the composition of the team is different. The leadership is different. And we have to really just kind of teach the new group about our culture, reestablish our culture. We have to set some goals for this group in particular, and, set a pathway of how we're going to go about, creating an environment so that we can achieve those goals. So it's a day-to-day process. We have to build each day and grow together, learn together, and get stronger with each day that passes.
How would you describe that team culture?
I would say that our culture is one of, positivity, competitiveness, work ethic, and really just enjoying and having passion for what you do. And I think that we've really been able to carve that out. I think the fact that we have, so many pro players that leave our program and go on to the coaching, I think it really has established that we have great passion for what we're doing. And even the kids that go on to different careers, I know that they, are taking the lessons that we learned and bringing that to their career and that aspect of their life. And so it's definitely a fun thing. The journey is something that we focus in on. We try not to stay away from focusing in on results and just really keep our eyes on, what we need to achieve in terms of the journey.
What if you could hear from some of the top women in sports, like Jill Ellis, Dr. Jen Welter, LaChina Robinson, Lasia Clarendon, Kelly Anaway Perez, and Jenny Gilder? WeCOACH and Huddle have partnered to bring you this epic lineup in the first ever Breakthrough Summit designed to develop and inspire women in sport. Having positive female role models allows young girls to say, if I can see her, I can be her. Breakthrough Summit is free and open to anyone at any level. Tune in on your computer, laptop, tablet, or phone to watch this live online event. Mark your calendar for December 16th and register today at WeCOACHSports.org.
Looking back at your career, could you pinpoint one or two of the hardest decisions you've ever had to make?
I would say that probably the two hardest decisions that I ever had to make was the hardest decision. First one was to go to Maryland. I really wanted to go to a place that was closer to my home. And I, obviously wanted to play at the highest level. I had a brother that, played in the NHL for 17 years. So I saw the way he was recruited and treated by, some of the men's sports. And what I wanted to do was to kind of carve out that same type of atmosphere on the women's side. And I wanted to play for a coach that really took that seriously. And I think Cindy Timshall was that coach for me. I just felt it when she came and did a home visit at our house, when she, hosted us for an official visit. It just really was the environment that I was looking for, combined with the school environment. And so I chose to go, very far away from my home, 8.5 hour drive. And at the time they didn't really have discount airlines. So couldn't afford to get on a plane. So most of the time I was driving or taking the train from Boston to Maryland, and, didn't get a chance to have my parents see every game. They would come 2 to 4 times a year, depending on the situation. So, that was definitely a big risk for me. And it was probably the best decision that I ever made. Cindy really helped me grow as an individual, broadened my horizons, and taught me to think outside the box and think differently in terms of being successful. And then, after college, I went back to Boston and said, okay, I'm here for good. This is the place that I want to be. This is my home. And I got the call from Northwestern with the opportunity to, start a new program in a place that's, such a great city, and at an academic institution that's one of the top institutions in the country. So that was a very hard decision because I knew I was making a decision to kind of, start my life somewhere else. And I think that first risk that I took to step outside my own comfort zone and go to a place like Maryland really helped me take the risk to go to Northwestern and start this program. And, it's just been really fulfilling and we've obviously had a lot of success, but it's been a great journey. And I think the thing that, helped me, just like my decision to go to Maryland, it was the people, and it's the people here at Northwestern too. I've created a family here, and, it's just really been a cool experience.
So as a coach, the media, all the people in the public, they get to see all the fun things, the practices, the competitions, the wins, certainly all the success you've had. Behind closed doors, we know it's a lot of hard work, 24/7, 365. What's your least favorite part about coaching?
I don't know if I specifically have a least favorite part. I don't love to travel all the time. So just, in the summers, you have to go away from your family and stuff like that. That's probably my least favorite bit, to have to leave my own family to go on the road and, recruit or visit and different things like that. But there's also a really good aspect to that. You get to meet a lot of new people and really kind of broaden your horizons. And, that's the coolest thing about lacrosse is it takes you places that you would never have originally gone before. I've gone to so many different countries and states and met so many really cool people, whether they come to Northwestern or not. It's been a cool thing. So, I think that obviously there are ups and downs with every team. And that's what I tell people is that, when you win championships or when you have great success, all people see is the success. And I think that they don't see the ups and downs as you go throughout the season and how, it's difficult to grow together. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of self-reflection and things of that sort. So, but I actually enjoy that process. I think that, at times it can be stressful, but I think if you think of it in a holistic perspective and, you really understand that you're working with young people that are going to make mistakes. That's what this process is about. It's about growing, reflecting and getting stronger so that, when they leave our campus from Northwestern, they feel like they can achieve anything that they want to achieve.
Well, especially as a female coach, you're empowering future female leaders and showing them what success looks like as a coach and as a career woman. You're basically a CEO of a company or of a program.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If you had to walk away from your coaching career today, what are the greatest memories you'd take with you?
I would just say the memories that I had with the people on my team, the people in this administration. Obviously there's really nothing like coming together, having a common goal, and playing for something that's bigger than yourself. And through that process, you gain so many special relationships and memories together. I would say that those are probably my greatest things as a coach that I will take away. You see yourself as, okay, you're always teaching lessons, but actually you're learning lessons from young people all the time. And these young individuals are so dynamic at a place like Northwestern. They're, they just are such, smart, hardworking individuals that they help push me as well and my staff, and they help us grow. And I feel like I'm always learning and reinventing myself. And through that process, I'm, gaining some of the greatest memories of my life. And, the last thing I would just say is just having my family integrated into this community is really a pretty special thing. My young daughters have some tremendous role models to look up to. And, I have a platform for them to learn lessons from, and we talk about those lessons. This is, some of the benefits of being a collegiate coach.
Thanks for teeing that up for me. So you're a mom to 2 daughters. Talk about being integrated. Your husband's a huge asset and one of your assistant coaches. How do you balance it all?
At times it's difficult. I have to be honest, you're getting pulled in a lot of different directions. And, sometimes the job here can be not just stressful, but time consuming. So, you're constantly having to manage and getting pulled, and, you have to be organized. And, I think the biggest thing is, the fact that our family is part of this program too is a huge thing. So we just have to make sure that, we balance everything. And I think it provides a level of balance for our players too, when they see, okay, both coaches are, have their own family, they have their own situations. And, it's not all about what we're doing here. It's a holistic approach. And I think that, that's what life is. You can't compartmentalize anything. You have to have balance in your life in order to be successful. And you have to, focus in on your team, your home life, your, academics, your personal well-being, and just make sure that all are in check if you want to have success in life.
Speaking of success, what success habits do you have?
I would say that, obviously the biggest thing is that I'm hardworking, but I think that I try to do some different things to help myself, and my kids too. I do a lot of meditation. I think that is a super important thing to basically have quiet time for your mind and allow yourself to be creative. I also like to try to take time out of my busy days so that I can be creative. And for me, just the way that I work is I like to be silent when I'm creative. So I like my ideas to flow in that way rather than kind of working collectively. And then once I kind of get my own thoughts and my own ideas and my own creativity, then I'll bring it to the collective group. So just kind of taking some time for myself is probably the biggest habit that I have, whether it's, meditation, working out in the morning. That's part of the self, preservation process and having a strong mind. I feel like you have to have a strong body if you're going to have a strong mind. And then also just having some quiet time so that you can think independently of others. For me, working with my husband every day, it's super important to me because I want to make sure that I bring, my perspective and be strong in my perspective. And in order to do that, when you're talking and you're sharing ideas constantly, whether it's at work or at home, it's important for me to have my separate time so that I can kind of think independently as well.
When as a head coach, you're on all the time and you're constantly serving the needs of others. So it's refreshing to hear you say that you take time for yourself, and especially that quiet time I can definitely relate to. So we end every episode with what's called rapid fire. I'm going to fire off 5 quick questions at you, and you're going to come back with the first thing that comes to mind.
Sure.
If you could use one word to describe yourself, what would you say?
Hardworking. It's 2 words, but
If we hyphenate it, it can be one.
Yeah.
What's your favorite place you've ever played or coached a game?
I would say, being from the Boston area, favorite place would be what we used to call Foxborough Stadium, and now they call Gillette Stadium. That was probably, my favorite place. And then my second favorite was traveling to Italy to coach and play over there.
Can't beat either of those, really.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any game day superstitions?
No, I'm not a superstitious person. I feel that, one of my superstitions, I guess, is to not have superstitions and to go with the flow and, be able to react and be successful no matter what the environment is. I think sometimes superstitions stifle you, and I'm not one to be stifled.
What app on your phone could you not live without?
That's a good one. I would say, probably, text messaging. That's probably the most common thing that I do with my players, with my staff, with my, administrators, everything. So I think that prospects, I think text messaging is a great way to communicate with people in this day and age. And I would say the second app that I've been getting into lately is that Calm app. They have a lot of good meditations. And I do meditation on the Peloton app too.
Oh, cool. I didn't even know Peloton had that. Who knew? All right. Last question. What keeps you awake at night?
Yeah, it could be a number of different things, but mostly I tend to, think about some of the decisions that I maybe should have made, or changes or adjustments that I could have made, or things that I can do going forward. I don't necessarily stay awake at night, but sometimes I'll wake up and start thinking. And when I wake up and start thinking, I like to have a piece of paper next to my bed or an iPad or something that I could jot an idea down. Because a lot of times, that's quiet time. I might come up with my best ideas during that time. So it doesn't always have to be worries in the middle of the night. Sometimes it's just like, how do I tackle this obstacle? How what ideas can I come up with? And a lot of the times I'll wake up and think of something during that time. So
I can definitely relate to that. Kelly, thanks so much for all you've done for the game of lacrosse and for being a role model for other young girls hoping to follow in your footsteps. We'll be cheering for you this spring.
No problem. Thanks so much for having me on the podcast.
Please visit our website, wecoachsports.org, for more details. You, our listeners, do you have comments for us? Please share on our social media pages at WeCOACH or at West Sports on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Make sure to don't miss a next episode of the WeCOACH Podcast. Subscribe to West Sports in your podcast app. New shows are released every other Thursday. And until next time, all sports, one voice, WeCOACH.